Hey guys, Awesomefusion here. Yesterday, one of my friends asked me if I'd take a look at his game replay to tell him what he did wrong throughout the game. So it gave me a good idea of a video to do. I think the best way for people to learn this game is to have someone point out the mistakes they or other people are doing and tell them what they should have done instead. So I'm going to start a daily game analysis series of basically anyone's games. I'll need some replays, so feel free to send them to the email in the description. So, here's my friend Dagonless. He's playing Cassiopeia mid. And let me see who his opponent is. It is Fizz with Heal Ignite. I don't really like Heal Ignite basically on any champion. I feel that it just generally prioritizes the lane more than anything else, and the lane is such a small part of the game. It's only like, say, from 12 to 20 minutes basically. That's roughly how long a laning phase can go on for. So it's comparing that, it's like a lot of games can go on to 40-50 minutes in, so Flash generally helps you a lot more than Heal would in a team fight, I feel. For like a mid or a top anyway. So on bottom we have Varus and Blitzcrank. I think Varus is good with Blitzcrank because anything with a healing debuff is good with Blitzcrank, because you just pull the healing debuff. The heal doesn't really do much and dead. What's he doing? Right. So I wonder why he healed there. Seems like a bit of an unnecessary heal. It didn't really look like he was going to die, to be honest. Better be safe than sorry though, I suppose. And this guy is playing Warwick jungle with cloth armor, a ward and 2 pots. I think if you're actually going to play Warwick jungle, and you shouldn't play Warwick jungle, to be honest, you should probably start with boots if you're going to start with anything, because it simply just increases it. You don't need the cloth armor for the sustain or whatever he's buying it for, simply because the boots they're just good enough, and you're going to run around the jungle quicker as well. And if you're chasing someone out of your jungle, it's going to be nicer to have the boots to chase them down with the red buff than the cloth armor. It's going to be a lot more beneficial for you to have that. So Fizz started with E and he just randomly uses it on the mobs here, and I don't know why Cassiopeia is playing so defensive, because Lee Sin is top now. You can see Lee Sin's top right there. Yeah, I'm not sure why he's playing so passive. He's generally, you'll have the advantage as Cassiopeia against Fizz in the first couple levels, just simply because you're a ranged champion, and he still knows that Lee Sin is top. So there's no excuse to be playing so passive, really. It should be quite difficult for Fizz to get the CS here, but it's making it quite easy for him. And Fizz doesn't have any armor runes actually, so. And I noticed Cassiopeia actually doesn't have any magic resist runes, which is not advisable really versus Fizz. You should probably want to, in your AP page, you generally want to have some magic resist runes, especially versus certain champions. And Fizz actually starting with 30 AP, which is quite nice for the early game anyway. So he's doing some harass now, but he's also losing a bunch of creeps to the tower because he just sort of let Fizz push to the tower straight away. And now he's gone missing. It's just all this black area here. You could be anywhere here. And Warwick's doing the blue. It's a bit dangerous. Oh, he's back in mid now. Just taking some free damage onto her. Thing about Cassiopeia, it can be quite difficult it can be quite difficult to use a skill set and mechanics properly. It's quite a niche sort of champion. There's not many champions that work in the same way as her. So now he's actually level 4 and Fizz is level 3, so it should be quite a. You could have E'd him again there actually. Would have been some good damage. He's actually getting him quite low, but Lee Sin's here just in the right time, which is really good. I wonder why he flashed here and just turned around just soon after he flashed. I'm not sure why he did it like that. That's just really, really greedy, because he knew Fizz was around. He knew Fizz could have been here in the brush. But he just didn't... He couldn't hold the thought of Fizz being there, and his lust for trying to kill Lee Sin. It just overpowered his good judgment, I guess. That's a shame, but oh well. Fizz actually, I don't think he used heal then, so he still has heal if he needs it. And if we look at the CS here, Fizz is actually on 14, Cassiopeia is on 15. Cassiopeia should have a lead in CS around this time. It's like 5 minutes 30 in. Still in quite early levels, so. Now they have similar items. In fact, they have exactly the same items, apart from Fizz decided to buy some mana potions. I'm not sure why, but Cassiopeia has a ward and Fizz has a ward. I assume Fizz is now going... No, he didn't go to place it yet. Which I'm wondering when these guys are going to go place their wards and where. Oh, I think Fizz just placed it there. I'm not sure though. I'm pretty sure that's what he went to do. He's missing now though. There he is. Yep, he's got no ward in his bag now, so he's placed a ward here. Cassiopeia has not placed a ward yet, so. Wonder why Lee Sin decides to run into our jungle instead of to his allies. Did not make much sense for me. It's probably just a bad choice of like what direction he's running. The Gangplank has gone Avarice. Strange item choice. I know people used to do things like that before. I used to go triple gold for 5 Gangplank, Dewplank build and go Heart of Gold, Philos and Avarice Blade as well. But it's about even now. They regardless of Fizz getting First Blood, they still have similar items. But what he did here was, the mistake he made was that he ignored Fish and just went onto the minions instead, which is just a fatal mistake, as you saw, because it just allows him to easily. Fizz wasn't caring about the minions as much as Cassiopeia was, so he sort of just let Fizz get directly into range of him and allowed him to get all his spells off. And he didn't really follow up with any damage, so just basically died for 100-0 without giving anything back. I've noticed I have a Nidalee support, and I don't really like Nidalee support. I think the only times I've seen it have been in lower elos, basically. It just doesn't seem to work from what I've seen. And Fizz is ganking bottom now, which is a shame. He didn't get any kills off it, but he made them burn summoners, which can lead to kills later if they don't have summoners. So, but Cassiopeia is doing a good job of pushing mid. That's basically what you need to do if you're not going to follow your lane. You definitely need to push mid. But the main mistake he's making now is that he still has the ward in his bag. He really needs to place that ward down. There's literally no point in buying the ward if you aren't going to place it. You notice his Lee Sin's there. Gangplank actually hasn't received too much help yet. Lee Sin's been ganking top very nicely. Warwick is still level 5, and see, with this Warwick, he still has the same items. He still has cloth armor. He hasn't bought any other items yet. He really needs to get those boots. It's a horrible mistake to make when you're 9 minutes in and you haven't got boots yet as a jungler. Like, most junglers start with boots now because they find them so important and worthy of and useful. So I don't know why he's choosing to do that. So Warwick's coming at the mid now. I'm not sure for what reason though. He's not even trying to go around him. It's literally pointless. All he's doing is taking XP from Cassiopeia here. But Cassiopeia was kind of just extended too far for no reason. And he also ulted far, far too late there. I'm not sure why he did that. Lee Sin, I don't think he needed to die there either. He sort of walked past Warwick as if he wanted to kick him back into the lane and get a kill, but he would have just... I think he would have been fine just doing a couple auto attacks and kicking him and then letting the Fizz ult finish him off anyway. But still good for the purple team, regardless. And this Gangplank, he should know now, after what's happened in mid, he should know now that Fizz and Lee Sin are most likely coming. It's just so obvious. When you're looking from our perspective, watching what's happened in mid and then watching it goes on to top. See, now they complain no SS when it is the most obvious thing in the world. Just at least for me, it seems extremely obvious that Fizz could have easily just ran up into mid, into top. You don't need to like. If you think you're better than your ELO is, you shouldn't need him to say SS then, really. You should know that Fizz could be coming up. It was just so blatantly obvious. Now Cassiopeia still has the ward in her bag. It's still the ward she bought at 5 minutes in or so, which is really a waste of that money. They really need to get the vision down, because apart from this ward at blue and this ward here, there's no other wards on the map. All this area, which is the most important area to have warded, is completely blank of vision. Lee Sin has bought Mercury Treads before his Wriggles. I suppose that is for Cassio, to show the ult isn't as dangerous to him. I suppose that's his reasoning behind it. A lot of people also I'm not sure why, a lot of people also seem to think Warwick's ult gets affected by Mercury Treads and Tenacity when it's a suppression, which doesn't. I'm not sure why a lot of people seem to think that. They're sort of just roaming around Dragon area for no particular reason. Warwick is actually finally level 6, so maybe he can do something. That was just a complete waste, I think, of Flash and Warwick ult. Because she was 100% dead anyway, really. Maybe he just wanted to kill. So now they want to go into Dragon and do that. Varus is about half health though, and he's got very little mana. So, we'll see. Ridley Spear actually hitting the Dragon there, helping him out a little bit. Cassiopeia, it's such a vulnerable position. Like, it was just, for me, I could see that he would easily be hit by the fish from there. He could easily just been waiting in that bush, and that's exactly what he did. So it was just poor positioning in that sort of respect there. And I think he sort of ulted a bit too late as well. You need to ult. You don't want to ult to take the kill. You want to ult to get damage off while they're stunned. If you know what I mean. So that wasn't too great there. This Gangplank has actually gone Ninja Tabais against Renekton. I think versus heroes like Urgot and Renekton, who do a lot of physical damage, but don't necessarily do it that much with their auto attacks. You probably, I'm not 100% sure, but you probably don't want to go Ninja Tabais. You want to just get some sort of chain vest or something like that. Right now everyone on the blue team's just sort of flaming each other, which is just completely the wrong attitude to have. You don't want to flame each other, especially during a game when you're losing. Flaming is just the road to... Feeding sets the path to losing, and flaming just concretes it, in my opinion. And for some reason, Cassiopeia bought another ward, but he still hasn't placed the first ward that he bought, which is interesting to me. He really needs to get this sort of area and this sort of area warded up, because Fizz can just be waiting in these bushes right now and just easily just jump in and come and kill him if he needed to. I'm not sure where Fizz is right now. Sort of just could be anywhere around here because it's all completely unwarded. And he's going to place his ward here now, it looks like. Still missing there, here's Fizz. Misses his ult completely, but it's still don't need it to kill Gangplank. Right now this Fizz is just completely snowballing the game out of hand, and Gangplank's complaining about no miss again. Although I just seem to feel, even if miss was called, he would just stay there and think of another reason to, another sort of reason to blame on someone else. Warwick also really could be buying wards as well, because both of these wards here now are Cassiopeia's. Even though he put them late wards are better than no wards really, so. I'm not sure where he's going now. There's a lot of farm in mid he's going to miss if he roams around the top. Wonder who these pings are by. Warwick should just be going and ulting Renekton now, but he was too late to realise Cassiopeia's coming up. So that was a bad play by Warwick. I think this is a bit greedy. Keep going on like this. See why? I don't understand why he turns back here. Now Lee Sin basically just does a good play, but it's just exploiting Cassiopeia's bad play, I think. And now Warwick's also dead. I think both Cassiopeia and Warwick were in the wrong there for those sort of mistakes they did. And Blitzcrank as the support is spamming in the chat, GG, report mid please. It's completely unnecessary to do that, I think. There's really no reason to do it. Not doing too bad though. We're actually going to get a kill. I always feel like killing a support and then dying to the AD is never worth it, because now Ashe is farming and Varus is not. And Varus also used all the summoners to try and stay alive against Ashe, which he couldn't. But now Cassiopeia has the blasting wand. I really think he needs the Giant's Belt to not die to Fizz as easy as he's dying to Fizz now, because Fizz is very fed, and the Giant's Belt will just make it a bit easier, make him maybe survive longer to get his ult off. Just forcing Warwick to flash here. I feel like he could have gotten a bit of damage off of Fizz then. I don't know why he didn't do a couple spells there. Would have been beneficial, especially since he's got no pots now as well. Fizz is sort of just walking around. I think he's going to get blue now. Makes sense. No, I've noticed actually Gangplank is getting Catalyst. I mean, Blitzcrank is actually getting Catalyst rather than Gold 5, and he's got pure AP runes. I've noticed that the lower people complain about their supports at the lower elos, but when you're getting things like Blitzcrank support with Catalyst and AP runes and things like that, and Nidalee supports like that, I think I'd prefer the Blitzcrank, you know, over this Nidalee. It's definitely not as bad. See, he's actually doing some quite good pulls here. He's getting him a complete free kill. I think Cassiopeia actually ulted a bit late there, and it just gives a free kill to Ashe. Obviously, Varus trades off with it as well, but he probably should have ulted a bit earlier. You need to ult to stop damage coming in, not to ult just when you're about to die or to get a kill on someone. That's not what you use the Cassiopeia ult for. I think Blitz might actually be able to kill Fizz here. Be pretty funny. Yeah, he did. Haha. What a beast. If you notice though, Warwick wasn't there during the entire fight. So that was like a 3v4-ish, basically. But Fizz came in later, obviously, so. Varus has IE now, which is good. But Cassiopeia picking up the Hextech Revolver. I hope he turns this Blasting Wand into a Ryalize. If he doesn't turn it into a Ryalize, I think it's going to be the wrong choice, really. It's just going to instant die to Fizz. And if you let Fizz instant kill you, then you're basically letting Fizz do his job, and you don't want the enemy champions to do their job. Once again, though, doesn't have any wards, even though he had enough money to buy some. It's just, it can be, some people just sort of buy the first couple wards and then forget to buy wards for the rest of the game, but what people don't realise is you need to buy wards the entire game. At least him was just spotted in mid, but Gangplank has wriggles, right? Gangplank has wriggles and he doesn't have a ward in his lane still. Okay, he places in that bush, but I think it was fairly obvious that Lee Sin was coming, since he was just spotted in mid before that. And this ward is horrific. This kind of ward that he's got here is not the type of ward that you want. Ideally, if Cassiopeia was warding correctly, that she would have a ward here, or Warwick would, and Gangplank would have a ward here in this bush. And that would be so much more vision to stop him from getting killed. It would just help immensely. And I feel like Warwick could have just ulted Fizz there, and then Cassiopeia could have gone with her ult, and he probably would have died. Also, Fizz has bought a Medjai's. I'm not quite sure why he's bought a Medjai's now at 20 minutes, because you kind of want a Medjai's to stack up on characters like Fizz and LeBlanc that roam and Snowball and things like that. You kind of want a Medjai's to stack up during the laning phase, and not after the laning phase is already over, because it's already over now. It's 20 minutes. Everyone's starting to roam, and we're doing dragons and things like that. So Fizz could be around here. This whole area is unwarded and it's just completely black. So if they're sort of sticking around on low health, which is a good indicator that Fizz is around. The Gangplank just doesn't seem to care, or he doesn't seem to realise. And now he's just, I think he's going to die. That was a really nice ulti from that was a really nice ulti from Cassio. He probably could have E'd Fizz before, but it doesn't matter, he died anyway. Yeah, that was just like how Cassiopeia died here in the first death. It was the same sort of cocky overconfidence that get them killed, basically. It's one of the worst ways to die, really, because you're sort of doing good and outplaying someone, and then you turn around and get outplayed yourself. Blitzcrank's actually gone Rod of Ages. It's a pretty interesting build. I wonder what Cassiopeia will go back and buy. He really needs to get that big Giant's belt, because he's just really useless and pointless at this moment, because he's just dying instantly. And Nidalee actually buying Tear of the Goddess. I don't agree on that choice. Maybe on Blitzcrank you can buy Tear of the Goddess, because he actually legitimately has mana problems. And it helps with his shield, etc, etc, but I don't think you should really buy it on Nidalee. But if you can see how much the bot lane is winning for the blue team. No, he actually bought a needlessly large rod. That's just, to me, that's just a completely wrong item choice. He really needed that health to be a bit more tanky and not just instant die to Fizz. And that was good that Blitzcrank took that ult there. It's really soaking up a lot of damage. This Nidalee's just, with his Tear of the Goddess, going crazy onto Varus. But Nidalee just jumping in like that and playing recklessly is just giving a free kill to Cassiopeia and a free blue buff, which isn't too great. That was a nice hook from Blitz there. This Gangplank actually has a BF sword, so he's not going typical tanky plank, he's going a crazy... See, Gangplank should have been running then. He should have... He saw it way before they were even there, that that they were coming, and the next one was just on 100% health. And that pull actually just got them killed, I think. Yep. Just got them both killed. So that wasn't an ideal Blitzcrank pull. Really. See what people have bought. Warwick's actually finished his Frozen Heart now. And Varus is almost done with his Phantom Dancer. That'll be pretty good. I wonder what Gangplank's going to turn... Okay, it looks like he's going to turn it into Infinity Edge. So, that build's sort of strong. I don't know. People don't generally tend to play Gangplank anymore either, actually, so... But I know people used to build them like that before, so maybe it's still good. People also used to build him with just Warmogs Atmas actually as well. Just a typical build, and Crit Plank was actually pretty fun to play. Just one-shotting people. I'm not sure what Varus is doing here. Why is he caught out of position like that so much? It's going to be a free kill for Ash there. Cassiopeia, he saw them all there. There was no wards or anything, and now he's just basically going to just give away a free kill just like Varus did. I also wonder why he didn't ult before getting killed like that. Ulting like that could have really helped him out. They're also getting very greedy. Now it's only a 2 for 3. It should have been a 2 for 0. A 2 for 0, now it's just a 2 for 2 basically. It's rather pointless.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
But at least Gangplank managed to get top tower. So, I'm not sure how much gold he's got. Maybe we'll be able to get his Infinity Edge soon. Warwick actually must have a fair amount of cooldown reduction. Good 30% cooldown reduction, which is a very nice stat on Warwick. Varus still hasn't completed his Phantom Dancer. I think one of the major mistakes Cassiopeia has made so far is the part where he didn't realise what sort of damage Fizz could do at level 5, where he sort of prioritised killing the minions over being careful about Fizz. And then not buying a ward and just not placing it correctly. And then after that, it was a very close pull there. Gangplank's here though with his Infinity Edge. He's going to be very strong with that. The amount of damage he can do with his Q with Infinity Edge, if he gets a crit, it's just devastating. So they want to do Dragon now. Don't know why Gangplank and Blitzcrank aren't coming. Sort of just wasting their time. They're not really doing anything there. They need to go and do Dragon. It's just a silly mistake. People pinging like mad. It's funny how people don't really take notice of the regular ping, and people only take notice of like 10 pings. So maybe Riot should change it so one ping just does 10 instead. Renekton kind of made a silly play here, where he just... No, maybe it's not so silly. That's a pretty nice ult, but the rest of his team didn't really react, sort of. I don't know. Also, it didn't help that Varus was not there until very later on. And they didn't focus Gangplank at all when he's got... Literally, he's got 120 armor, but he's got 2k health, and he's got Infinity Edge. They should have really been focusing him quite a lot. It was quite a nice play of him to get out at that sort of health, like flashing away on 200 health and no mana is probably the most ideal thing you can do after being in a team fight.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
So Varus is pretty farmed now. He's got his Phantom Dancer, and Ashe actually hasn't completed hers yet. But she has Adorns on him. Probably won't help that much though. And it looks like Gangplank is either going Trinity or Frozen Mallet. He doesn't look like the kind of Frozen Mallet Gangplank to me, so he's probably going Trinity. Yeah, for future reference, you can just hold S if you're a jungler waiting for someone to do your blue buff, rather than sort of monging it about and moving it around everywhere so the mid player has to come around completely. You can just sort of just press S and then they can kill it from over the other side. Just a little tip. And Renekton has finished Frozen Heart. Force of Nature. I wonder why he's done that. It's Cassiopeia. She's doing some magic damage, but she's probably going to die in the start of each fight. We'll see though. Warwick just needs to ulti Fizz basically. He's got 12 kills. And he's only got 2 stacks, so it's not really doing that well really. Another very close pull actually, so. You look how little damage Renekton does onto Warwick. And the fish actually goes onto Blitzcrank, so that isn't too bad. Warwick does a nice ult onto Fizz. This is exactly what he needed to do. But I feel like Cassiopeia sort of just once again mispositioned. She should be much, much further away than she was during that fight. And also ulted once again too late. Seems to be one of the major mistakes I see Cassiopeia players do, is just ulting far too late. That was a pretty good Ashe arrow. It's a shame Renekton's just sitting here hitting the tower. He probably should have been a bit more aggressive and just went on to Blitzcrank there and let Ashe just shoot the tower. Because Fizz and Lee Sin were actually pretty low, so they couldn't really go in too easily. See how little damage Ashe is doing to Warwick. She really needs to get that last whisper as soon as the Phantom Dancer's done.
Your turret has been destroyed.
So we'll see. They're pinging Baron. Maybe they want to go and do it, but it doesn't look like it. Gangplank's going to take red. Yep, he's building that Trinity Force. I knew he wasn't the type of Gangplank to go Frozen Heart. To go Frozen Mallet, I mean. Always get those two confused up. Varus is buying another BF sword. Seems like he doesn't rate Last Whisper very highly, which is just a shame. This is probably the item he needs most right now. Renekton has a fair amount of armor. Lee Sin has quite a lot of armor. So Lee Sin has gone... Warwick's just engaged here. Seems like a bit of a crazy impulse engage. I'm not sure why he did that. And that's a good arrow from Ashe then. That's really the power of Ashe arrow right there. So strong. Warwick basically baited in his team there. Just a bad ulti and basically baited in everyone else. I'm not sure why he hasn't ulted though. Cassiopeia could have just ulted and it might have saved Warwick. It's not that much to just ult and it stuns them for 2 seconds. But now it looks like they're going to get a free inhib off of this. Get their morale down a bit more. We'll see whether they go for Baron or not. But yeah, like I was saying, that Lee Sin's build, Wriggles, Warmogs, and then Guardian Angel, I don't really like it, to be honest. I don't think that's a strong Lee Sin build, really. At least, if I was playing Lee Sin, I wouldn't build that. If I was really ahead on Lee Sin, I was just sort of having fun, I'd probably just build Bloodthirster, Guardian Angel. But now they've killed Nidalee, so it looks like they want to go for Baron. Or at least check if they're doing it. Nope, they're farming top, so maybe they're going to go do Baron. Looks likely. This is probably the saving grace. They may not be so far behind in kills, but they're a bit more behind in towers, I think, and farm. Not quite sure. Yeah, they're behind in farm as well, so slightly. There's kind of suicide there. If Warwick, see, Warwick just had slow reactions there, and if he ulted a bit earlier, it would have saved Varus, I think. Not sure why it took him quite so long to ult. Blitzcrank's going to take all that farm there. Not the best person to have it on, but so Cassiopeia is building more AP. He really needs that giant spell. It's really screwing him over. He's just instant dying every fight, sometimes before even using his ulti. It just makes the whole point of Cassiopeia just pointless. This Gangplank's really strong right now. Warwick actually has hardly any damage items. I think the best item for him to go would probably be Frozen Mallet, because he's got a sort of cooldown reduction tank build. And with that, he just needs to stick on them. Stick on Ashe. That Nidalee is insanely squishy though. 1Q from Gangplank takes away about half her life. And Varus actually got caught by an Ashe arrow there again. But he's still sort of managing to kite around. See, Gangplank's able to just easily take down Ashe. But I think he could have taken down Ashe then, probably, with one more Q. But you see they engaged without Cassiopeia there. And I think Cassiopeia could have done a better job to let his team know that he wasn't there. It's also your responsibility to do that as well, I think. That was not a very good Cassiopeia, really, but worked out anyway. See, if he had Rylai's right there, Renekton would have been slowed. I just feel Rylai's is one of the best items on Cassiopeia. So that's why I prioritise Rylai's and Will of the Ancients before getting Deathcap myself. I'm noticing now Warwick's actually only just starting to get his blood scent ticking off and stuff, which just means he didn't put any levels in it up until a couple levels ago. Now it's just starting to be quite long ranged. I think that's one of the best parts of Warwick as well, is blood scent, so I would rather level it over W, I think. I think Cassiopeia now should be mainly using her ult to protect Varus. Just stick with Varus and use her ult on whoever goes onto him. It's the main role of Cassiopeia's I've seen lately. We actually ran a Protector Cogmore comp where we had Cassiopeia with Warmogs and Rylai's, and then bought Rabadons later on, and it was really strong with Nautilus, Alistar, Nautilus top, Alistar jungle, and we had, I think, Nunu support, and it was impossible for them to get near me. And Cassiopeia mid, and it was too much CC for them to get near me at all, and it was just impossible for us to lose that comp. So they're just sort of wandering around. They actually had Baron for a while, but they didn't really do anything with it, it seems like. Not sure why. Now they're just kind of milling around mid, and an arrow just hits Varus straight on the face. That was a really nice arrow. But Fizz does instantly die due to Gangplank. He's doing so much damage, even through an exhaust. Ashe can't do really anything against him. And despite their AD carry being taken out instantly, see the Fizz's poor item choice is what's really holding him back. If he had his Zhonya's then, he would have just probably been able to Zhonya's and then maybe flash away, but I just feel it's his item choice that's letting him down right now. They could probably kill that Lee Sin if they manned up. Gangplank really wants to kill Ashe though. He's really got it in for her. I feel like Cassiopeia could have maybe done a bit more during that, but if someone doesn't want to go in, they usually don't go in no matter what. Baron's going to spawn in about a minute, I think. But he's got this Giant's Belt now, and if you haven't noticed yet, the lack of wards is just immense. There's literally 0 wards on the entire map now. Now the laning phase has been over for a while. There's literally 0 wards on the entire map. Blitzcrank is just buying AP and mana and stuff like that rather than any wards or gold per 5. So rather than actually having legit map control, they just sort of group up instead to avoid being caught out one by one. Varus actually quite overextended here. Blitzcrank's pretty good at protecting as well, so it's fine. I actually think Blitzcrank should be able to hook friendly champions. It'd be awesome. Probably be some troubles with people just trolling with it all the time, but it'd still be pretty funny. Maybe just in normal games people could do it. This Lee Sin is what, Thornmail now. It won't be too good against Varus though, because he's about to have Last Whisper and he's got Bloodthirster, so it's probably not the best item choice. I think he should have gone some sort of damage maybe. If you're going to buy Warmogs, I think buying an Atma's just goes so hand in hand with it anyway. Even if it's nerfed now, I think it's still worth buying it if you're going to buy a Warmogs. Right now, Ashe has actually prioritised buying Bloodthirster over Last Whisper. I think people underestimate Last Whisper so much. It's not even that much. It doesn't even cost that much, but yeah, it's still such a beneficial item to your damage. I'm not sure why people seem to dislike that item so much. And here, Baron spawns just as I get to it. That's very good timing, and with the attack speed buff of Warwick and the attack speed buff of Gangplank, you know, with the W and E, they've just done that in about 10 seconds, and now the purple team have come from Dragon, I presume, and they're just going to get basically all routed by Varus and killed. Cassiopeia, once again, he hasn't really done anything this fight so far. It's mostly just been Gangplank and Varus. That ult actually misses everyone. I think that's one of the main things about Cassiopeia, is just doing your ult. It's the most important part. You need to do your ult properly. Or it's actually unstoppable now. It's interesting to see, since he had such a bad start. 180 and 4.5k health, I guess you'd expect him to be unstoppable. But Varus is doing a hell of a lot of damage now. Fizz should have been really prioritising everything onto killing Varus, since he still has 50 magic resist. And Fizz is probably doing so much damage. The only problem is he doesn't have his Lichbane yet. And that's just probably due to the fact that he bought that Medjay's, which really didn't do anything. The Medjay's didn't really help him at all. He should have just bought the Lichbane instead, I think. Now they're just slowly going to start winning, I think, the blue team. They just seem to have a team comp that synergizes better together than the other team. Maybe a team comp better at team fighting. Cassiopeia got the Rylai's now though, to help out slightly, although I think when you're getting Rylai's this late it doesn't matter as much. It's more of a mid-game item, I feel. Although Renekton's building Last Whisper, even though not that much armor is being built on blue side. Which is interesting to see. Looks like Nidalee's now going to build Aegis, I think. It's a little bit late. I feel like the game's going to be over before she's going to finish it. They'll have Baron buff, yeah, they want to push as hard as they can into mid. Probably do the last team fight. Not sure what the gold looks like, but despite the Barons, it's been extremely close game, 40 to 39. All the way through. And the sort of close games you have are sort of showing that you're meant to be at that ELO, I feel. And if you can really perform well in the close games that you're having, then that just sort of means that you're meant to be that ELO. But Fizz one-shots Cassiopeia. I don't understand why Fizz would want to one-shot the 12 death Cassiopeia. He'd probably want to one-shot the Varus. Really, it doesn't make sense to me. It's just he's not really thinking correctly about who he's meant to be focusing in team fights. That was a really nice pull. Yeah, he's not really thinking correctly about who he should be focusing in team fights. He should be 100% going on Varus, who has 50 merit resist, and that would just... He still could have... I feel like this Fizz got fed early, but he still could have carried the game. He just didn't know how to carry the game. He got insanely fed, and he just didn't know what he had to do for some reason. There we go. That's gonna be it, I think. Yep. I hope this helped you out a little bit, guys.